Hi, I'm Cathy Thomas. Rich Mead, executive chef owner of Farmhouse at Rogers Gardens, mastered farm-to-fork cooking long before it became trendy. He insists on the freshest and best ingredients, and that is evident in his roast chicken, stuffed under the skin with fresh herbs, garlic, and Dijon. Just the thought of it makes me ravenous. Chef, you start off with really fantastic chicken, right?
This is the whole premise of this dish, and it's something that I discovered at the Santa Monica market. It's an Autonomy Farms chicken. Meredith Bell she's the farmer rancher, and when I tasted this chicken, we had to figure out a way to put it on our menu. It's the best chicken I've ever touched.
Let's get started.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
We're gonna put together here a little stuffing, and these same herbs for the stuffing is gonna go in the chimichurri.
When I think of chimichurri, I think of cilantro.
Sure.
But we're not going anywhere near cilantro today. We're going more into the French garden.
When I create things, sometimes you have a reason for it. It's the season. It's going out and looking at different vegetables and then going, wow. And sometimes you're cooking because your landlord handed you a herb box that they wanted to send out to a bunch of food writers and different writers in LA and down here, and they wanted a recipe from it. And we all sat down and we started talking, and we decided we would put together a chimichurri using the herbs they gave us, which were sage, rosemary, and thyme. So we started tasting and we go, this is like a poultry type, you know, like very French style, whatever. And I go, why don't we do this chicken and we'll stuff it with this mustard on the skin, and then we're gonna add a lot of garlic because it's really good with garlic.
Sage, thyme, garlic,
rosemary.
and rosemary.
And then we're gonna just throw some Dijon in it. A little olive oil. So this is the stuffing. We've taken all the bones out of this chicken. We're gonna stuff under the skin. You can make little pockets
down. You just make a little pocket with the ends of your fingers.
Right, and then you keep pushing. And then you do it on the dark meat side.
And I always used to tell my students, when you're stuffing under the skin, don't wear large cocktail rings.
No. But I'm gonna put some of this down here.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you're going from the middle.
Yeah.
Rather than going from the ends.
So I don't know any better. It's probably you do.
No, I think it's a really good way to do it.
Because you want to keep the skin.
Right.
I like a lot of this stuffing.
I'm surprised at how much of the stuffing you're using.
I just like a lot.
I know it's going to be delicious. I've started the fire underneath your skillet.
And I would crank it.
And I have it as high as it'll go.
Oh, okay. And we seasoned it with salt and pepper before we start. We're going to turn it over. More salt. And then some fresh ground pepper. We're just gonna put a little bit of oil in. So we're gonna brown it.
Skin side down.
I wanna let it get crispy enough so it can move. If you start playing with it early, you'll start tearing the skin. Right now, this is the way I would toss it in and just let it go. All right? So while we're doing this, we have a spaghetti squash and a butternut squash. A lot of guys have squash right now already. They're gonna put them under the shed or in the shed, you know, under cool weather, and it cures it.
Cellar.
Yeah, and exactly, your root cellar or whatever it would be, and it's gonna get sweeter. What we like to do is we're gonna roast them. We cut it in half, you take the seeds out, you wrap it in aluminum, then you're just gonna roast it in about a 300-degree oven until it gets soft. The other part of this dish is this spaghetti squash. If you look at it, it's called spaghetti squash because it's like spaghetti. How cool is that? We got two things going on. We're gonna heat the butternut squash up, and then the other part, we're gonna put a little oil in. If you had some crushed chilies, you could toss them in. I'm gonna throw in a little garlic. These are Cipollini Onions. What we do is you open them up, cut the tops off, blanch them real quick, pop them out of the skin. Start them in a saute pan with whole cloves of garlic. You're gonna toss in some thyme and some rosemary. We put in chicken stock, white wine, it could be vegetable stock, whatever you want to do. Cover it, you throw it in the oven, you let them braise, they get soft. So we're going to throw in, let's use broccolini. How's that?
And your broccolini was blanched?
Blanched, in boiling water, salt, pepper. Going to toss in some of the spaghetti squash. We want to season with some salt and pepper. So this is getting warm. We're gonna create the sauce. I'm just gonna deglaze the pan with some white wine. You're gonna reduce it a little bit, and we're gonna scrape up the little bits, the little flavor bits. I have some chicken stock, which is what you can make with the bones. A little salt, pepper. You take this guy, you have this creamy consistency, number one, and you're gonna get a texture from the spaghetti squash. I love these Cipollini onions.
You're ladling that sauce just over the top of that beautiful chicken. This has been delicious fun, and I've learned a lot.
This is really fun. I've never done this with you, so thank you.
Here's a quick tip from Melissa's. Chopped Greek salad is a favorite, and with the addition of chicken, it quickly turns into a meal. Let's start by making the dressing, and it's very easy and it's very perky. So let's start with about 1/3 cup of red wine vinegar. We're going to add a little garlic salt and a little freshly ground black pepper. I'm going to give that a little stir with a whisk to dissolve the salt. Usually the proportions of olive oil to vinegar are such that it's either even or there's more olive oil than there is vinegar. But in this perky Greek dressing, we want a little bit more of the vinegar than the oil. So about 1/4 cup of olive oil. Some minced fresh oregano or basil. Some slivered red onion. I love Kalamata olives, and these have been cut in half lengthwise. And I always like to make them a little bit more perky by adding some minced orange zest to the jar. It just gives them a nice fragrance. So in go the olives. We want some chopped romaine lettuce. The easiest way to chop it is to just simply cut it in half, and then to cut the half in half so we have quarters. Leave it connected at one end and just simply slice it like so. So we want about, maybe 6 cups cucumbers. So I've just zebraed this, which means that I've taken off half the peel in long strips, and I'm just going to cut it into half-moon shaped slices. Let's take a look at this beautiful vine-ripened tomato. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And I have a serrated knife here. I think that makes the slicing and chopping easier. And I'm going both horizontal and vertically. And then the cooked chicken, just torn or chopped into pieces. We're going to give it a toss. I usually do this in the sink. And this certainly wouldn't be a Greek salad without some crumbled feta cheese. Now I'm going to add one thing that I really like that really isn't very Greek, but I have some croutons here that I just toasted up. I like the crunch that the croutons bring. Easy, delicious, goes together quickly, and it's dinner. The produce aisles are filled with so many delicious choices. Try something new, have an adventure.